Do I look dead to you? I'm a little like, I don't know. I feel like I look goth, but I don't look dead. And I was really going for dead. But okay, maybe if I see, it's like it's a little bit dead, you know? I haven't been able to sweat that much yet, so I don't think that my foundation is as peaked as it was before, but I did add a little bit of darkness on my cheeks to kind of give it that like, this is actually fucked up, it's not on purpose kind of look, but who really knows. Maybe I could go to jury duty looking like this. Yeah, I've been thinking, um, like, like, I'm like all the things that Christian people hate. I'm gay, I'm trans, and I'm a witch, and I'm a professional psychic, and I'm a Sagittarius. But I don't know. I was gonna have something interesting to say about that. But the truth is that I still feel kind of embarrassed about it. Like I still feel kind of embarrassed that I'm all the things that Christian people hate, because I mean, that's also not just me, and that's not who I am. But I mean, sometimes I do feel a sort of amusement about that, because these things about me that are just innately me, it's so it's so interesting that like that there's people who like just do not like any of that, like I feel like a walking conglomeration of all the things that Christian people hate. I was at a restaurant a couple days ago, and there was this lady there, this one of the waitresses. It was one of those moments where I really had to put my moisturizer on my new tattoos. And so like I was lifting up my sleeves, and I was like, moisturizing my arm, and I was wearing the Eye of Horus on this eye at the time, and I could tell that she was confused about that, and I didn't really care because I needed to for protective purposes. But I could tell that she heard my voice and could see that I'm a man, and that I was wearing makeup, and that I had a star on my left hand, and oh no, what does that mean? And she was staring at me like I was the devil. Like she was like looking at me like I was like, oh my god, I've never seen a real tapeworm before. Like it was so funny. Like I was like, whoa, like in this person's world, I'm like this really scary abomination that you only hear about like in like, oh no, like beware, and like I'm right there, and like I'm just eating my food, like moisturizing my tattoos, and to her I'm like this like, and I don't know, like maybe these are all assumptions that I'm making, but she was looking at me like this. And like, I don't know what she was thinking, but it probably wasn't good. And I'm just like, wow, like people think that that's what evil is. They think that like people like me are evil. And I don't know why like I find that so funny, but I do. And I was like, damn, like I actually felt kind of excited in a weird way. I was like, how funny, like for her, I'm like this really big experience. Like I hope she's having a good time experiencing me, like wow. And then I don't know, I just I just find it funny when people project. I used to take it so personally. Um, but I'm just like, damn, that's crazy. Like, I have relatives who are religious and very Christian, and I think part of this video is for them. And I think about it a lot. Like, I think about it sometimes. I say things to myself like, wow, it must be so nice. And nice is an interesting phrase, because I don't know if it is, but it must be so nice to like have a set of beliefs that you believed since you were a child that still fit your life today. You know, not a lot of people to have that. Like, not a lot of people, or I don't know, because I still believe things that I believed in as a child. But it's like, what I'm saying is like to have a rigid rule imposed on you and to have a belief imposed on you that this is the way things are and this is the only way that things can be and this is the best way that things can be. It's so lucky for someone to actually be able to live in that way. Like, if I was raised Christian and if I was raised religious, I was born trans and I was born gay, and it's like I would never have been able to stay in that space. People who are religious and benefiting from it, I believe, are either very lucky or very unlucky because they never had to. And I'm sure people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But they've never had to like question their entire existence to fit their own identity. Like, if you're straight and if you're cis and if you're married to the opposite gender and have the right amount of kids and believe in that family system and believe in that religious way of being, there's a certain level of comfort there. And there's a certain level of like stability. And like, this is the way things are. And I think that people, you know, because being straight is like the norm technically, people get used to it. People get used to the religious family system and all of that and what it entails. And like, I think that's why they continue to impose it, because they forget that there's other ways of being, and then they hate those other ways of being. I feel like there's a lot of insecurity in religion too. And I have some family members who I'm sure would be very disturbed if I came out to them, and would be very like, oh gosh, we'll pray for you, you know? And I just, it's one of those conversations that I don't know how to have, because it's like the godforsaken truth is that, like, I would say, if I could, I would say, look, there's just some things that don't fit into your world. And that's not easy to tell people. And their argument would probably be like, well, my world is pure and the other world is evil. And I think from that I would respond, are you happy? Are you genuinely happy in these rigid structures that you impose on yourself? Because God created everything in existence, do you think that God would really want you to limit yourself the way you are? I don't think that people should disown their religion. I don't think that people should disobey what they believe. I just think that the limitlessness of God and Christ's love is something that doesn't need to separate from anyone, you know? And I find it funny when I, in my integrity and in my highest truth and in what I perceive to be the realm of my heart, witness people projecting on me that I'm doing something wrong or that I'm evil or that, you know, my existence is some kind of sin or illness, whether it be from a random stranger or an acquaintance or the fucking news. Like, I just, I can't afford to believe that, you know? And I just, it's interesting because of course they would. Like, people who are religious and who believe in their ideologies of religion, like, of course they would hate me, or they would think that I'm wrong. Like, I'm all the things that they've been told is wrong. I'm the taboo, you know? And I was the taboo to myself, because even though I wasn't raised in a Christian environment, my lineage is Christian and my ancestors are, and that runs in your blood. Like, when that stuff is so deep in your body, like, it still affects you. And I used to feel like I had to compartmentalize and hide certain parts of myself to fit some kind of image that my family had of me. Like, I've been practicing witchcraft for like a very, very long time, and there was a time in my life when I pretended that I wasn't, and then I hid that from my family, and then I started to tell people, and I felt like I had to advertise it in a way that was palatable to them, you know, had to talk about my queerness and all the things that are taboo to them in a way that was palatable, in a way that made sense, in a way that was, it's not that bad, you know? And it's like, why? Like, I'm never gonna make these people comfortable. Like, I'm never gonna make these people comfortable. There's always gonna be people who are gonna think that I'm crazy and weird and whatever. There's absolutely nothing about me that is normal. Like, they say, you know, like, oh, you know, there's people, it's like this square peg in the circle hole or whatever. I don't even fit anywhere. There is nowhere that I feel like I am, quote unquote, a normie in. I feel like I belong, but I don't feel like I fit in. And I can't help it. I can't fucking help it. And that has to be okay. Because if it's not, then I'm not okay. And I choose to be okay way more than I choose to make other people comfortable with me by putting myself in a box. Like, I don't know, I just find it funny, and I also find it a little bit scary when people who preach the sacred words of Christ, like, use it to condemn people and to separate. Like, what scares me about it is that they don't know what they're doing. They know not what they do. Hating people and condemning people, like, how does that... I don't believe in hell, but I do believe that when we die, we have to face all of our shadow, we have to face all of our nightmares, and then we have to transcend them. And we're all one, you know, we are all one being, and this fear of hell that actually creates fear of people. If you're living in that fear, then after you die, you're gonna have to face that fear if it still ran your life when you were alive. And you have to walk through that nightmare and realize, oh, we're all one. I just feel like I'm all the things that society hates and that Christian people hate and that normal people hate. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not like cool with it. You know, it's not like I like it, but I'm also kind of not, I'm not really fazed by it. It's like, yeah, you know, of course they would. Of course they would.